Hi guys, this is Michael from the Boardgames Chronicle. Today we shall talk about battles of the American Revolution, actually about volume 6, Pensacola. Uh, Before jumping into this video, I just would like to say that recently my dear board game wargame friend Janek started to introduce me to this system. Better later than never. The system has like 27 years already, and I'm really enjoying it. Let's be honest, not every volume and not every battle is as much enjoyable as some others. Still, I'm having fun with this. So what I would like to do, having this opportunity to play and learn the games, also do some kind of unboxing and overview video. So what we shall do today is not only show you what's in the box in the Pensacola 1718 one, but also explain a bit the rules of the system, the special rules of this game, and of course historical contexts. Yep, that's the plan. So let us start. The battles of the American Revolution are really varied. There are many nations and many formations taking part in this war. Pensacola is a very good example of this because we have here the Spanish with the French allies fighting the British with the Indian allies. It's more a siege than regular battle, although there is a lot of maneuver, there is landing of the forces, there are also raids, as we can see. So this should work nicely. Historically, very briefly, in 1779, Spain joined the war on the, you can say, on the American side, or you can say against the British. It's not the same, of course, but against the British, and they wanted to reconquer part of the Florida. So this is one of the episodes in this invasion on Pensacola was planned a year or even two earlier, but due to the storms the ships were not able to land. In the end they landed, and we will have superior in numbers but inferior in quality Spanish troops fighting with some of the French allies against the British, who really renovated Pensacola and built the three sturdy forts which helped them to control it. I will not be going more in details of the history, because the best way to show the history is when we'll see the map, and then I will be able to explain even better how the things went. Enough to say, this was one of the latest episodes of course, of this revolutionary war. So the box is like 2 inches. You always have explanation here which battle it is, and so you can put all the boxes next to one another. At the back you have, of course, the reminder of the earlier games in the series, and those games, of course, were accurate. Maybe not accurate, but the number was, now when it was 6, so we have Saratoga, Brandywine, Guilford, Savannah, Beaumont, and Germantown, which was published exactly the same year, 2010, as Pensacola. You have sneak peek at the map. We'll be looking details into this, and also the game counters. The Galvez was the main leader on the Spanish side, who was landing on the Pensacola, here. So let's see what's inside. Let me put it that way. Should look nicely. Okay, so first of all, we always have 2 rule books, or almost always. We have 2 rule books. One is regarding the Great Battles of the American Revolution series rule book, and the other will be exclusive rule book for this battle. This series, follows the similar approach as for example Multiman Publishing Operational Combat Series, Battalion Combat Series, where you have a series rulebook and exclusive rulebook. You have always Mark Miklos as the designer of a game, although some other people also help him with the research. And what is interesting in this system that once the research is bringing new information, it's not uncommon for the game in the system to update some of the counters or the rules in the previous game in the system. So you will see a lot of this here. Okay, so what do we have in the series rulebook? As always, introduction to the counters, terminology, sequence of play, which is in general always the same, with some tweaks and twists to the particular game. So we have initiative segment, which can be predefined. You can roll a die, you can modify it with a morale. You have initiative player turn, where will he be, moving, rallying. There is a defensive fire, there is rifle fire, completely separate type of fire than the regular one. Close combat, and then the second player does the same, and you have end of turn segment. We check for automatic victory and so on. This is type of I go, you go game, however with a twist, because due to the morale the initiative can change, and it's possible for you to have 2 turns consecutively. We have rules about stacking, usually that was 6 strength points, about zones of control. That's interesting how the zone of control is working, because in the that's an open terrain, that's usually not a problem, but if you have a harsh terrain like woods or buildings, you don't have zone of control. On the other hand, you have a light units which can have zone of control in the woods. As you can see, something I would say not uncommon in the hex and counter games. Movement, how do we do the rifle fire? Rifle fire is possible only by the units with this R. Defensive artillery fire, yeah, here we have artillery. How do we do the close combat? Very interesting is the tactic treats or tactic cards in later games, which can really add some twist to how the battle is being resolved. It prolongs battle a bit, however, it's fun. It's fun. We have information about combat results. And last but not least, also about leaders and the rally phase and army morale. And this is the expanded sequence of play, the general sequence of play. And then we should, of course, look at the specifics, because the Pensacola will have some specific, rules. First of all the counters are presented here: the Spanish player, the British player, and which counters with which color are which nationality. As I told you, there are replacement counters. So due to the research, several counters in Savannah, Guilford and Brandywine will be updated. Sometimes it's a small update, like, another shield head because, they were wearing this cap, not that cap. Sometimes it's very important because it changes, for example, the statistics. Yeah, so Pensacola special rules will be incorporated here. And important, what is the fortified hex? We'll show them on the map. And then how the siege turns will be worked. Yeah. Coup de main turn. So this is the turn when the final attack of the Spanish will take place. Yeah, the army morale, momentum is possible with advanced rules. There will be random events. The deployment of one side, the other side, and then there is a victory. So British decisive victory, we will show them on the map because this is the best way to do it. In general, you will land with the Spaniards. you will need to protect your reinforcements in turn 7. You need to find a spot where to build your redoubts for the artillery bombardment and start to bombard as soon as possible. On the British side, what you would like to do is to disrupt this building of bombardment redoubts. Kill as many as possible Spaniards to lower the morale and try to survive. Yeah, this is it. There will be random events, as you can see. There is information how we declare coup du Maine. Redoubt construction completion, this is on the Spanish side. Then siege bombardment and Spanish supply, very, very important. For the bombardment, unlike previous games in the series, you will be able to predetermine the hex where you would like to hit. There could be, for example, for the mortar, some kind of drift. Yes. Okay, even more rules. The specific rules for the Pensacola are longer than the general rules. The rifle fire, okay, the mortar fire, this is the Spaniards only. British have some very heavy garrison artillery and also howitzers. British raids, this is important, very important, because a lot of raids will be happening here. There will be special units, Indian village description. So as you can see, there is a lot of Chrome. And then after 13 pages we have scenarios. The first is of course a historical assault scenario. This is the full scenario, and then you have siege only scenario. Depending on what you like and what you prefer, yeah, you can start with a whole, let's say, campaign or only the siege scenario. This is interesting. This historical summary, I read a bit of this. There are some really interesting, developments which happened during this battle. Like, this is the Queen's Redoubt, which was unfortunately blasted because one of the cannons from the Spaniards went to the powder room and it really exploded. So as always, I suggest you to learn something about history by reading, designer notes and historical notes. That's really something great. And then you have also the actual real numerical values of the sites of the belligerents. Then all of the counters, not too many. Those battles of American Revolution are not very much counter intense. What else do we have? We have the event deck, which I need to open. And for this, let me take the opener. I forgot to do it earlier. And okay. This is something which spices up the game. As written in the rules, we don't use all the events immediately. 16 we should remove. Okay, we should see it now. Siege game, turns only. Oh yeah, those are the greens one. And this can be, one side, both side, events. French Elan, siege artillery bonus, ransom, superior British Indian policy, espionage event. These things really adds this small twist to the typical hex and counter game, and really, I really like it. It spices up the game. We have some baggies. We'll probably use cube for me, trays. We have die. Then we will have several player aids. Yep. So we have player aid 1. That's a typical also for those games in the series. You have army morale adjustments when you gain and you lose morale, and also for the leaders. This is how you gain, and then for the victory points. Usually in these games you can have minor, standard or decisive victory. Decisive victory is usually counted by achieving some goals on the map. The minor is usually on victory points. Additional movement modifiers, construction rates. Okay, because yeah, the Spanish will be constructing a lot. French morale. And then we have tactics matrix. I told you, depending on what tactics both sides use, and different result will have close combat modifiers and the table with the results of what's going on. Fire to hit tables, damage tables, and mortar fire tables. This is artillery range summary, and of course terrain effects chart plus weather. So while not super complicated game, it has some rules, so I would say medium complexity games in this series. Then we have a special player aid 2. This is fortified hexes and hexite matrix. So those Spanish stockades and redoubts and forts on the British side. That's important, depending on who is attacking, as you can see, and where we have zone of controls. This is a siege game, guys, so it's not unusual that you have so many rules on this. And then the turn sequences, the siege turn sequences, and could be the main turn sequences. Okay, I could not resist, and we already have the tactics cards in sleeves, so we can see them. That's also typical of this game, to have tactic cards. These are for both sides. You see how it works in attack and defend, and depending on what the opposition does, you can have plus or minus. Yeah, it's interesting. This is something which GMT does, and is really great. Not sure to what extent it still is being done and added to the games, but we had those notes in the games in the past from GMT, so I really like it. One tactic card escaped me. And now the counters. Told you this is not a counter intense game, so we have one sheet of counters. This would be the Spaniards. You can see the strength points, you can see the movement, the turn they enter, if they will have the number like here. This is the initial setup. These are the French. These are also the tactics cheats, which can be used instead of cards. This organization, some additional British forces. You would have Indians, you would have British regulars, you would have Tories, some local troops also. The control, bridge, the redoubts, and this is being constructed, as you can see, and this is already built. Batteries can be also destroyed. This is building of the road, which will help the Spaniards move into this. I told you about the rifles. Here we have some units with rifles. Here it is, for example, King's Rangers. And not too many counters, and if you look at the number, evidently the British are outnumbered. Last but not least, the map. The battles of the American Revolution feature some of the most beautiful maps, and this is, I believe, not an understatement here. I would love to have a slightly bigger hexes, and some of the games allow for the bigger hexes. In Pensacola they are rather small, but in many games from the series you have bigger hexes. So what we need to do now is to show you the situation. So the Spaniards are sailing here, and during the first turn they will be, of course, fired upon from Red Cliffs Fort. What will happen is that every game you will start as a Spaniard with a different number of units. Every time you play, you will need to go through this special phase where you sail with a 5,000 troops and landing here in Sutton's Lagoon. These are the two stockades, very important places for the Spanish player, from which the roads are being built. These are very important roads for quickly moving the troops and, what is even more, artillery forward. Here we are getting to the main victory point. So Fort George, Prince of Wales Redoubt and Queen's Anne Redoubt. Those three things are victory points for the Spaniards, and they need to get it. Here is the Pensacola itself. Yeah. What happened historically is that they sailed here, they landed here, and they started to move inland and building the redoubts, being constantly raided from various areas, for example from here, from the woods, by the British and Indians. They also had to take care of this Red Cliffs fort. It's not only that you are being fired in the first game turn or before it when you land, but you are also being fired at your reinforcements, which will arrive like turn 7. So the question is whether you push immediately with the Spaniards forward and start to build, the redoubts and artillery positions, or you want to get rid of this Red Cliffs fort, so your reinforcements, the French and some Spanish forces, can land with unmolested. So this is something really interesting. The map also have here the turn track, Coupe de Main track, which is like in hours. Here we have information about the map, so this is map legend, and here what is very important and common thing for the series, you have the morale, and the morale is at start here and here. Okay. I could show you even more, but I believe that will be enough for today. For the short unboxing and overview, it's already over 20 minutes, so I believe I will stop here. I was a bit carried away. I really like the system and the games, and even more the history behind it and how we can replay it. So this is always what I appreciate about the historical war games. But we will finish here. We will not go further. I will definitely be continuing with the battles of the American Revolution, not only with the content, but with actually playing even more. Today we looked at Pensacola, so siege by the Spaniards of the British. Really interesting siege game with some twists and telling also the interesting story. That will be all for today. If you liked this video, don't hesitate, give a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content like that, I strongly encourage you to subscribe to the channel. That's all for today. Thank you very much for being with me. Thank you for watching, and we will be back with Battles of American Revolution with more content.